Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, Lord.
Some Sadducees, those who deny that there is a resurrection, came forward. Jesus said to them, "The children of this age marry and remarry. But those who are deemed worthy to attain to the coming age and to the resurrection of the dead neither marry nor are given in marriage. They can no longer die, for they are like angels. And they are the children of God, because they are the ones who will rise. That the dead will rise, even Moses made known in the passage about the bush, when he called out, 'Lord, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob.' And he is not the God of the dead, but the God of the living. For to him all are alive." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Please be seated. I think I've seen just about every war movie that's been made. And the plot of almost every one of these movies is pretty much the same, where you try to take some enemy objective to shorten the war. But in one war movie I saw, there was this one scene that was pretty disturbing. One side was trying to get vital information from captured soldiers. Instead of the usual interrogation methods, what they did was they lined them up in a row. They went to the first soldier and asked him to reveal that information. When he refused, they immediately shot him. Can you imagine after seeing this? What would it take for the other soldiers to also refuse to talk? Well, what it would take would be unimaginable courage and conviction towards the cause. The first reading today about the 7 brothers, they're not asked to reveal any kind of information, but what they are asked is to compromise their convictions, their faith, and their belief. And the king who is putting them through this, he just doesn't get it. He thinks all he's asking them to do is to maybe alter their dining habits a little bit and eat some pork. But what he doesn't realize is that not eating pork goes to the very essence, the very core of their spiritual belief and faith. And what would cause these brothers to withstand and endure such appalling torture and eventual death? It was their absolute faith that as soon as life was gone from their earthly bodies, their souls would immediately be welcomed into the kingdom of heaven. And this was a concept that was completely foreign to that king. He just didn't get it. And he didn't understand, and he didn't grasp their resolve, their faith. So what would happen if we were asked to compromise our beliefs? Would we have the same courage, be as resolute as those 7 brothers? I know we're probably thinking to ourselves, nothing like that would ever happen here. And probably not. But let me give you an example of where it does happen. When I was at a wedding several weeks ago, I talked to the bride's mother, who was a Coptic Christian from Egypt. She told me that her friends and family are being put to the test each and every day regarding their beliefs and convictions. People she knows have been tortured and killed. Churches have been burnt to the ground. And one thing she said that was just absolutely unbelievable. She said that when a person is identified as a Coptic Christian, a red X is painted on their homes. Sounds pretty familiar, doesn't it? Like what the Nazis did to the Jews in World War II. So, what about us? I've seen acts of courage that we have done here in this community, this church community. Maybe not as on the same scale as those brothers, but still courage. Just the fact that we are here today is a testament to those values. But what would happen if bands of armed men were roaming around looking for assemblies just like ours? Before every meal, I say a prayer of thanks to God for the food that He has prepared. But what if that outward expression would be dealt with harshly? When we go to visit the sick in a pastoral way and give communion, what if doing that would put us immediately in jail, send us to jail for just doing that? Thank God in this country, we show tolerance to all religions, all beliefs, and all faiths. Where the most that usually ever happens is when we hold hands and say prayer before a meal at a restaurant, we might get a few odd looks. Or people might say to us, why do you bother getting up so early on a Sunday morning to come to church? Keep in mind that there are multitudes of people every day that are having to make hard and tough decisions about their faith and their beliefs and their convictions. And these decisions can have disastrous consequences for them. Now that is courage. And one can really only have this kind of courage and conviction if they are true believers. Many times, though, we have to have our courage bolstered so that we don't falter. Now, what better way to do that than to find that courage by talking to God on a regular basis and asking Him for help, by reading the Scriptures, or just being with people that have the same convictions that we do. And for those that still want positive reinforcement, just remember the quintessential words of encouragement that Jesus gave us in the Gospels when He said, whoever loses their life for my sake will find it. I think what Jesus was saying in that passage is that when our earthly journey is over, the courage, the faith, the conviction that we displayed here on earth will have greatly manifolded itself when we finally reach our heavenly kingdom.